Next up, we have a masterclass on starting strong, having a winning mindset for 2025. Some call it 2025, whatever you want to call it. But this year, we are moving and we are thriving. So we've got a masterclass on that by a Township Entrepreneur developer. His name is Bulelani Balabala. Please can we put our hands together for Bulelani Balabala. Come Soweto, come Soweto, come Soweto, come Soweto, come Soweto. Asamshayele Nizanda.
I don't prepare slides, but I did because the standards are high, and they're higher this year. But for me, you know, for the fact that you woke up on the Saturday, whereas you would have been running your business, you would have been at a funeral, at a social event, you would have been with your kids, and you're here, talks to the very theme topic of the day, and you're showing clear intent. You know, so I think when we were conceptualizing this particular topic, perfect. So this particular topic for the day, right, which is a winning mindset. It's really we understand that everything in your entrepreneurial journey that you will achieve this year is going to be predicated around the type of mindset that you have. Because your mindset and the mindset and the mindset alignment becomes at the very cusp of every single thing that you will build up, or rather even that is a failure in your life or even in your business. So to kick off, I mean, we're talking about building capacity. You know, in building capacity, we say a lot of things there, but at the end of the day, being able to open yourself up to building capacity helps you to be able to adaptable to change and helps you to improve your performance, and it puts you in a position where you take leadership roles. You know, wise and intelligent people talk about the fact that you need to understand and operate like a CEO. You are the CEO of your life. If you still wake up today or yesterday or earlier on today and the day happens to you, that is someone who's not in control of their life. So someone would say to themselves, but what then happens when, you know, I get the news that my staff is not performing, my production machines are broken down? There are certain things that you've got control over and certain things that you don't have control over. So having a level of deep insight into this particular thing means that in every space that you go into, you are then going to open up your mindset towards saying you're going to free up capacity. So sitting in this room, you're probably 22, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, or whatever the age is. So from the moment you started to be conscious about the intake of information in your life, you build realities. That is why you can have people in this room who will say, you'll probably ask them, but would you consider cycling? They'd say, cycling akusizinto zami. They've never been on a bike. They've never explored it. They've probably seen it from afar. But sometimes we even build realities for our lives by the things that we have seen from a distance. Or you go into spaces, where the people react a certain way. Sometimes when we're engaging, or it's romantic, or it's at work, we can pick up on each other's or our own personal negative traumas for the things that we've built, that we've gone into. Which means that the type of mindset that you're going to need to have going into this year is a mindset that says you're going to be open-minded to every piece of information that comes across you, but you don't necessarily need to take every piece of information. So the best way to ingest any information is, number one, to unpack a simple thing in building capacity. Open yourself up to saying, I'm going to take in this new information. The second thing, convert that information or that commentary that was given to you and start to ask yourself shift questions. So from the presentation that was made by Buli a bit earlier on and Bumi a bit earlier on, and then we'll be talking to an amazing lady during our Mbaula chat, start to ask yourself, when you then listen to that information, don't externalize the listening to that information, but ask yourself, is it relevant to my business? Is it relevant to my staff members? Is it relevant to my stakeholders? How can I utilize this to grow? Because when you start to ask questions in that very manner, what you are doing is that you are priming yourself to be able to answer the questions that you might have a challenge with, and questions that you might not necessarily even be aware of the fact that you need to talk to. So the mind is the most powerful organ within your body. It is within the mind that your sense of being, your sense of purpose, and your sense of guidance lies. So there is a study, so there's a book called Biology, written by a gentleman by the name of Martin Lindstrom. It unpacks a lot of concepts, but one of the concepts I loved is the concept that says that when you are selling a product to an individual, to a person, you're not selling to the person who's standing right in front of you, but you're neurologically selling to their minds. So before I unpack that a little bit further, I'll make a couple of examples, which is why today you go into certain spaces and they call their particular product not by its, they call a particular product not by its root, but they call it by the brand leader in that particular category. So which is why it makes sense when I go and I visit my uncle, it's Ntelung Tengeli Coke red, Ntelung Tengeli Coke orange, Ntelung Tengeli Coke brown. You know, toothpaste, Ntelung Tengeli Colgate Mentadent P, Ntelung Tengeli Colgate Sensodyne. What does that then go to? It talks to the fact that the moment you have sold this product to this individual, you've built what is called brand affinity. Meaning that through the neurological parts of this individual's brain, you've now built what is called brand endowment. That is why it doesn't matter where this individual goes, they will then seek out and prop out your particular product. So when we then take a couple of steps back to what I was unpacking, so you're not selling to this individual, but you're then intrinsically selling to the depth of this individual, which is all the neurological drivers that drive this individual's desire and ability to want to buy that particular product. So it means that when you are aligning your mindset, you also then do the additional deep work of understanding the fact that, yes, I don't just have black women who live in Soweto buying my products. I've got black women of a certain age who work certain jobs, but then I need to then ask the deeper questions, why? What goes into their thinking that gets them buying a certain product or this product from me? So then this gentleman does a couple of experiments, Martin Lindstrom. And then these couple of experiments talk to a number of different things. So back in the days, what they would do is that, which is why when you go into shopping centers today, you'd have music playing in the various shops. So they would then play overlaying songs or overlaying vocals. They would say, buy more of the pink skirts, they're on sale. Your human being will never pick that up. Your ears will never pick that up, but your brain always picks it up. And then they did a different experience. In a cinema, they made a deal with the cinema owner and said to them, listen, I believe that I can double your popcorn sales and I'll double your soda sales. How are you going to do that? As the film was playing, on top of the film, they played wording that the human being in their natural eye could not see, but the brain misses nothing. Which then says that our brain capacity that we use in almost less than 4% as a human being has got the capabilities and the power to set you up in the right way. But the biggest thing this year is untangle your mindset to the things that you've actually told yourself they're actually you. Because some of the things that we have told ourselves are us, are things that we have naturalized, either through the things that our parents told us, through our positive and negative experiences, through the jobs that we've worked in, whether the experience was positive or not, through you even being in this room, you're either opening yourself up to certain things, or you're closing yourself, or you're closing your mindset to the opportunities that might be in the room. You know, if this was a full day masterclass, I'd break this down even more. But the big thing here in this particular slide that I'd like to then put out there as a proposal is to say, open up your mind to what is potentially out there. Because all the solutions in most cases that you think that are external of you, actually internalize and you are built with capacity and capabilities. So there are 5 things I'm going to be talking about quickly because I only have 15 minutes. I don't want to hog this moment. Just to prop out a few things. So you'll see in the beginning of the first slide, that was talking to the theme of today, the overarching theme, my personal theme over and above today's theme is Vula Ikanda, which is, open up your mindset, which is set your mindset, because that is I think the second chapter in the book that I wrote. Very basic and simple practical steps, right? So the first thing that I talk about there is listen. As we begin our entrepreneurial journey, it is essential that we cultivate deep levels of self-awareness. So that is what I was talking about earlier on. To say that you need to have a deep level and deep sense of self-awareness. So one of the ways that you need to disrupt yourself is write down on a piece of paper. If you've got the resources or the financial means, print it out on a nice piece of paper. If you've got a better resources, get a printer to print it out, put it on your office or in your house. The first thing that you see when you wake up must be a question that asks you, what am I doing to stand in the way of the growth of my business? Because we always think that the problems are external. So which is why even when we come to sittings like this, the mindset is already prepped. How is Nedbank giving me money? How is T doing stuff for me? How is Jabu doing whatever it is for me? How is this individual doing whatever it is? But when you align your mindset in the right way, you start to ask questions in a deeper sense. To say, when they give out money, why do they give out money? Because you need to then understand a couple of things. There's no one or any brand or any individual who does things for the sole sake of doing them. So listening doesn't talk to utilizing your ears. It talks to having your hands on the feel of what's going on in your business and your environment and every single thing around you. So when I talk about the fact that people don't just do things for the sole sake of doing them, but they do them because it benefits them. So I'll picture an example of you driving out of here and then you meet a homeless person and they ask you for 5 rand and you give him the 5 rand. The simple answer is that I gave him the 5 rand because he asked for bread, but you didn't give him the 5 rand because he asked for bread. You gave him the 5 rand because it's self-serving to your values. So your core values that you were raised with was that you give to those in need. And then you walk away with an important thing. What is that? Fulfillment. So your selfish win was the fulfillment. So when we talk about having a deep understanding, a deep level of self-awareness, those are the things that we're talking about. So that you don't just take things on surface level. You take things and unpack them a little bit deeper, and then you ask the key question with this slide that says, and then you ask the key thing with this slide that says, how does it benefit those around me? What is the depth of this real thing? Because things don't just lie on the surface. So I offer a couple of points there. I don't have time. I'll email the slides to everyone. But what I talk about here really is, much to the first point, we talk about habits. Because really, some of the things that drive us behaving in certain ways is the habits that we've built up. And sometimes when you want to untangle habits, yourself from certain habits, there are certain things that we are not doing. Maybe let me read through so that I don't rush through. So we're talking about building the right habits for success. The first one, we talk about success comes from daily actions, not just big decisions. I'll ask you a simple question. How many of the people in this room right here either had New Year's resolutions or you had goals in 2024? Not this year. Let's be kind to this year because this year is still early. It's last year. So a couple of people had goals, they had resolutions, whether it was losing weight like me or buying a what like someone else. And now let's talk about a couple of things. When you talk about building a goal is an infinite dream. Well, no, let's not call it a dream. It's an infinite thought. It's infinite up until you attain it. So in most cases, what we do is that we come up with these amazing goals or resolutions of things that we want to attain. And then we take it a step further and then we put them into objectives. And then we say that in 6 months, I want to be making R1 million worth of sales. But what we then sometimes don't do the deep work of doing is taking a couple of steps back to unpack a couple of things to say, if I want to earn or make R1 million, what does that look like as a daily amount? And if I operate in my business from 8 o'clock up until 6 p.m. or for 8 hours in a day, or rather, let's put that out the window. And if I operate 4 hours as my productive hours, because you then need to unpack a couple of things that, yes, we operate for 12 hours a day, but what are your productive hours? Why? Because the entrepreneurial journey is broken up into 3. Number 1, the managerial mode, the technical mode, the technical mode, the managerial mode, and the entrepreneurial mode. The entrepreneurial mode is the reason why you started doing business. But at the moment, it only accounts of 1% of the things that you do each and every day. Why? Because now you're technical. You are packing the boxes and delivering them and loading them in the car. And then on top of that, you probably have one team member. Then you must supervise them, but you're feeling frustrated and overwhelmed at supervising them because you might not have even briefed them in the right manner. So now, the thing that drove you in 100% now only accounts for 1%, which is why in most cases, we then get to a point where we feel disgruntled and despondent and want to shut down their businesses because we did it the other way around. We were not asking the deep questions that we needed to ask so that we are able to prop ourselves up in setting the right type of goals. So when we talk about habits, and we talk about solutions, and we talk about, it's the daily steps, the small nuggets that you do each and every day that get you to go, that sort of line you up from getting to where you need to go. So you know what we ordinarily do is, because I have not yet hit that million in 3 months, I won't reward myself each and every day. But that's counterproductive to the human psyche, because the human psyche responds well to reward. Meaning that if we're measuring out this big goal in daily nuggets, it means that you then need to then be practical in saying, whatever it is that I've done today, am I being honest in saying that I've put all the effort that I needed to in this day, then I'm going to reward myself in this day. And reward doesn't mean payment. Reward means that you're going to have a conversation with yourself that says, you've done well today. Sorry. Hey, what happened there? Evan. Can you? It's got a mind of its own. Yeah, perfect. And then here in this particular slide, and we'll email this to everyone, this particular slide, it talks about the fact that small actions lead to big achievements. Similarly to what I was speaking about a little bit earlier on. Remember, the first thing that we spoke about is listen. The second thing that we're talking about is learn. Learn. Knowledge is the engine of your business growth. As a business owner, it's crucial to understand that you don't, it's crucial to understand that what you don't know can limit you, can limit your progress, can limit your growth. If you don't know what you don't know, it can hurt you. If you don't know what you need to know, it can hurt the growth of your business. Which means what? Which means that when you come into spaces like this and any other spaces, right? And let me just jump into this in managing my, guys. Can you go to the slide after this one and leave it up because it talks to the tips on the resources that they need to have. Yeah, keep it there because I'll talk a little bit around this because you saw the first slide, right? So then when we're talking about learn, we're talking about the fact that you need to then build the capacity. The idealism that says that you can't teach an old dog new trick, you know, is a saying that is solely predicated to limiting you and limiting your beliefs in attaining the things that you need to attain. You need to learn new things. Why? Because business is fast adapting. Business is fast paced and you need to fast adapt. You know, it's almost an adapt or die sort of theorem. That is why we see with some of these large brands that we thought were extremely big, today they've catapulted all the way to the ground. And it didn't seem at any given moment or point in time that they were going to fall. So I always say that when you then understand the idealism around learning and you understand how much a large corporation spends in understanding whether their business or their landscape and the sort, how much more you as a micro enterprise or an early stage small business or even as a startup in investing in your own personal development and your own personal growth. So some of the things that you then do in here, and I share some basic tips, is number one, I mean, there's basic stuff. Some of them are free, some of them are paid for, but they're online courses. They're master search engines and they are AI tools, like your ChatGPT and the sort. And you watch a 20-minute video that's able to give you guidelines. Now you understand how to prime. Now you understand how to feed in data. Now you understand how to build a basic bot, you know, that's got all your data that is input from your own company that you do over an hour. Now it's no longer a headache when you've got a staff member that needs to understand how the company operates because you've taken all the company feeder documents, you've put them into a chat bot that you are paying less than 200 Rand a month, and this chat bot is able to give them answers because you share the link with them. So now when they need to know what is the HR policy in this business, they don't need to ask you because you're the business owner who's on the ground and running around. So, but that doesn't just happen. All this knowledge doesn't just happen. It comes through a deliberate action that you take in understanding the landscape. So when I talk about the landscape, sometimes we limit knowledge to the industries that we're in. But when you start to understand a couple of things, when we learn knowledge, in most cases on the industries that we're in, it's technical knowledge. It's knowledge to be the best in that industry. But the disruptive ways of learning is also not just to learn that, but learn how all the other industries that form part of the value chain that makes your industry crack and move forward, what drives them? And what is in the forecast in the next 4 or 5 years in the growth of that entire landscape? The moment you prime yourself that way, now you are able to actually position yourself up in the right way for your consumers. Then we talk about video content. This talks to YouTube. How much time are you spending on YouTube? Like one of the things that I do is that I walk for 7.8 Ks a day, Monday to Friday, and that hour and a half is not motivated because I need to lose weight. It's actually motivated by the fact that I need to learn, but the byproduct is the fact that I'm losing weight to a certain point because I'm working or I'm keeping my body in motion. So you then need to then find those gaps, but you find them deliberately. Now then I take conscious decisions to say, you know what, when I'm in a Wi-Fi zone, I'm at a mall, maybe I'm on a date, maybe I'm with my son, maybe I'm with my friends, maybe I'm with whoever. This is a Wi-Fi zone, I don't have Wi-Fi at home, but not because I'm intentional and I'm deliberate. I'm going to go into YouTube because I've researched all the individuals whose content I want to consume. I'm going to download them offline, so that when I'm on a flight or I'm on a place where I can't afford the data, or I'm driving between Limpopo and Zanina, I told myself that I'll watch it online, but the network drops. Now I no longer have an excuse because I've set myself up for learning. So you plan for your success well ahead in advance and you don't make excuse for it. The fourth point is your audiobooks. The third one is build and engage with networks of people with similar mindsets, which are the people who are in this room. So if you came with someone today, make a deliberate decision. You can't have come here for 4 hours or 5 hours of your life, not a day, of your life to waste it and come here, dress well, and to walk away the same. Make a deliberate and intentional move to say, I'm gonna, in this room, find 5 or 6 individuals. Doesn't matter what industry they're in. I'm gonna do the deep work of understanding who they are, what they do, why they do what they do, and where they do what they do. Because as human beings, we are all interconnected. It's a network, it's a net, we are interweaved. But what we are sometimes not doing is that we are not taking advantage of the true sense of understanding what the next person is in depth. And sometimes what we then do is that we jeopardize those relationships by putting our agendas in front of everybody else. That is why then you see entrepreneurs in inboxes, hey, hi. You know, my thought is that I need this, I need. But the best way to ask for help is, how can I help you? Going back to the first thing that we spoke about in the first slide, which is learn. If the individual is only driven by the things that are important to them and they only give attention to the things that are important to them, it means that part of your value in building networks and collaboration should never be that I'm selling products X, Y, and Z, and I think this product is good and you should buy it. That is not a convincing sale. I'm selling products X, Y, and Z, but also I've taken the work of noticing and understanding that your guys buy 10 or 30 of these products. I've taken the work of understanding that your guys wear a uniform that looks like this. They probably need to wear it from Monday to Friday. Sometimes I've come to the shop and I've seen that 2 of the ladies don't wear the uniform, which maybe might suggest to me that the uniform was not clean. And before you even answer, I've spoken to 1 or 2 of those ladies. So here's a product that will answer that pain. That might not be the pain in that business. But because you've primed it that way, you've said to that person, in actual fact, you've done the deep work of trying to understand my business. So because you've done that, I will then give you my time and my energy. So the positioning, the depth is important. It's not as surface as we want. You can be as hungry as you want with no food at home. It's no one else's problem. They do not need to buy the products or your food because of that. You need to go a little bit deeper. And the moment you go deeper, then you start to understand that over time, you become like a hot knife through butter. People start to ingest the information more better. See, so people buy into the product more better. People start to even say, we don't have the funds, we won't be able to give you the funds. Oh, we've got better suppliers. We are locked in contracts. So we are not locked in contracts. We've got better suppliers, but because you were so great and in-depth, we'll find people that you will potentially work with. The third one, before I get off, is leverage. Think of leverage as a clever way of using what little strength you have to achieve something much bigger. And I mean, I think in writing that, you sort of see at the bottom there, I've got an individual who's carrying a bucket on their heads. And I think when you've grown up as Lali, in the township or whatsoever, you see these amazing ladies carrying loads on their heads, whether it's wood, whether amalatla or a mother or our grandmother's doing the very same thing, right? And that last line there talks to, just like when you use a steel bar to lift a heavy object with ease. So when we are looking at, and I'll jump to the next slide so that it unpacks those. So when we are looking at leverage, the first thing that we need to ask ourselves is, what do I have? You need to be able to answer the question, what do you have? Uphethe nesandleni, as that amazing guy asked. Uphethe nesandleni, what do you have? And sometimes the limiting beliefs that block us from seeing the things that we actually have are the things that are ingrained and the things that we've told ourselves. Uphethe nesandleni. And someone says, but I've got nothing. And this is some of the things that we've debunked, especially with guys who are super micro. I'll make an example, for instance, of an entrepreneur that we met who operates from an orange farm. who was a security guard, was retrenched from his job, had no work alternatives. Then an old gentleman in his community says, mfethu, you're unemployed, but you've got kids, uzoyenza njani? Anye kuhlala khoneni ilanga lonke. Uzobhayiziseka ngoba nangaphi nomfazi. You must still provide at the end of the day. Uzochuna njani? Akana plan. Then my suggestion to you, wash ama-dustbin. Athi, mfethu, ama-dustbin, I'll never wash bins. Athi, no, wash ama-dustbin. Nezandla. Wash bins. Because the moment you start with the decision that says that I'll do, solutions will come along the way. Then I'm chatting with this guy, he says, no, I decided to wash my dustbin, but I had no money for soap or the so. Then I thought to myself, I'll go to those houses where I'm familiar with. Now, the reality of the houses that he went to in Orange Farm are houses where majority of them are female-headed. You only pick that up later. They are run by either Abo Mama or Rabo Koko. Meaning that because he's known within the community, there was a level of trust where they would open up their doors to him. Their own children were despondent to doing or rendering that task because it's beneath me. He then started to render that service, then unpack a couple of things. I don't know how I'm going to pay people. Started that way. Then he started to realize a couple of things. The car wash around the block is always operational. The guys get there at 8, but there are no cars between 8 up until 12. So he then said, can I come wash my bins with your equipment between that time? Like that, he has a business. Every Thursday, he's invoicing 4,000 Rand, he's getting paid 4,000 Rand because his cash is 16,000 Rand a month. So when we talk about leveraging, it's to ask the simple question, upetheni? Yes, it's not the ultimate. But more understand that with upetheni, it's easier for you to approach people in the right way. To then say, this is what I have, this is what I think you have, this is the value that we think we can bring when we work together, and these are how the commercials look like in the long run. Then it shows the fact that you've done the deep work of unpacking your business. So when you think about leverage, then unpack why some of the collaborative or partnership relationships that you try to drive across were not working the way that they need to work. Why? Because it was leverage, it looked like leverage, but it was hanging on one side. It wasn't balanced, meaning that it wasn't beneficial to both individuals, it's just beneficial to you. And people normally run away from such things. So practical tips to enhance your leveraging skills: identify your resources, what I spoke about. Identify strategic partnerships that you need to work with. Number 3, outsource non-core functions. What are we talking about there? Because now you've understood, number 1, your strength. All the things that are not your strength, you will outsource. Means that you will find the right type of people to collaborate your weaknesses with to build bigger and greater value for the end consumer. The third one is embracing technology. Embracing technological use. And guys, every time we have spoken about embracing tech and embracing technology, we've spoken about it as a big pie in the sky. But this is similar to another entrepreneur we once worked with, and all we say to him, because every day he couldn't get to people's houses, then we ask a simple question: do you have WhatsApp? Yes, we do. Can you send people a WhatsApp to send you a location to their houses? Yes, I can. Automatically, Agasalahlegi is able to deliver Amalah. Now he's not taking direct calls anymore, and those simplistic things. So when you think about, utilizing technology as an enabler in your business, think about, what does my business currently do? When you think about what you or your business currently does, then ask yourself a couple of questions. Is there a platform or a tool that can help me do this thing easier? The moment you've unpacked that, then you start to do the research, go research that and do the back work. I'm missing a slide. We did listen, we did learn, we did leverage. Okay, but I've been here too long anyway. We'll email the slide. Is that? You want the last one? Okay. So while they just find the one missing one and just put that one and then I'll finish. So as part of the fact that we are here in Soweto today with you guys, the amazing guys that I work with. Carol, the book, the amazing guys that I work with who are these amazing guys from Nedbank? We're like, no, man, we've been doing this now for the past 2 years, right? So they were like, no, we can't do this for 2 years. We're going to make sure that every entrepreneur who is in this room is going to walk away with this basic guideline. Which are the things that I was sharing with you today so that so that you are better equipped. Because when we gather in these rooms, we're not gathering for vibes. We measure. We ask the guys after, who did you meet that you'll do business with? 68% of those entrepreneurs have told them that they will do business with the people in this room. Then we ask them that question 2 months later to sort of ascertain, are they doing business? And then they give us that input data. So it's not your vibes. And then on top of that, when you come here, and then you make the deliberate action that says that you're going to meet 5 or 6 individuals to do business with, you are growing your network. So and then we then do the deeper work of saying, because there's intentionality around wanting you to succeed, here's a basic toolkit. Very dumbed out, very, very basic, so that you understand basic principles in your business and in your life to navigate. Do you have it so I get off here? Perfect. This is the last one, then I'm out of here. And then the last one is, you are the boss of your life. Let me be clear, this isn't just about being in charge of your business. It's about leading your life, it's about leading your entire life, and here's why that's crucial to your success. We think leadership is a title given to us at work or a role that comes with authority. But wherever you are right now, whether you're starting out, whether you're an established business, you are a leader. The team members that you brought that are in this room, you need to be thinking of yourself as a leader. Because when you don't think of yourself as a leader, you cannot develop an entrepreneurial mindset. An entrepreneurial mindset is a tool that a businessman utilizes to run their business. That puts them in a position where they become entrepreneurial and they enterprise. That is why they are able to be disruptive in their businesses and not just businessmen and custodians of their business. Why? Because business is a tool like a job is a tool. But when I'm able to develop an entrepreneurial mindset, then I'm able to spot out opportunities and prime up opportunities and set myself up for my own success and my own failure. Which means that as a leader, I then need to then unpack what are the characteristics of a leader externally. And then based off those characteristics, how do I want to be seen and addressed? How do I want people to engage and intertwine with my brand? Because now you are conscious of the fact that amajita ekseni anyeke bavuke bakufonele ntwana uchuna ngicela ungikhaphe. You are no longer going to be that individual. No, ntwana izolo, I spent an hour planning for this day, eshimfana nginasikhathi, because for the next 2 hours ngitshuna ifokoli ngiyacabanga nje. To you, for the longest, you have told yourself that's doing nothing. That means that it's free time. No, it's not free time. It's you thinking and planning. It's you strategizing. So if you utilize platforms like your Outlook, or you have a PA, or you don't have a PA, or you use Google Calendar or other calendars, or you write down on a piece on paper, those are the things that you should be writing down to say that an hour or 2 hours in a week, I'm going to spend the time thinking about my business. Thinking about, is it developing, is it growing? Maybe some of you guys will do that each and every day, but those are some of the things that you do so that you consistently have the hand on the pulse of what's going on in your business. And without laboring too much, that was all I wanted to share. I hope I've set the scene in as far as everything, latching on everything that was spoken about here today, but really just open up your mindset. We'll email the slides to you. We'll share the book with you. But at the end of the day, it's all going to be solemnly reliant on you and your desire to want to implement the things that you want for you, because no one else can do it but you. Ngiyabonga. Thank you.